Oh, Stella's got one. Bring it in. Bring it in slow. Is it big? There you go. Back up. Bring it in. There we go. That's a keeper. That's about 16, 17 inches. Okay. Hi, I'm Poke Villalone with Life Lessons. Today we're going to work on just a real simple recipe for making fish, for deep frying fish, just with completely from scratch with the easiest ingredients you can find. And the intro to this video was Stella catching this fish just a few days ago. It's a black drum. And if you notice in the video, right as she's bringing it out of the water, she says, "Come here, dinner." So we're making dinner. That one 17-inch black drum, when you fillet it, it gives you 2 fillets that size right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna deep fry these fillets today. Just take a knife, cut down the middle. I like to just take it in not real small bite size, but cut the pieces big enough to where they're bigger than bite size, but they're not like deep frying a whole side of fish. So here, just cut that right there. Do the same thing with the other one. Take this, cut it in your slices. Now we're going to put it into this mixture over here, which all this is just milk. Sometimes people like to use buttermilk, and it's just 2 eggs, and it's whipped real good. And that's just what you're gonna soak your fish in. And just put the fish in this mixture. Make sure it's submerged, so that way it soaks it in a little bit. In the meantime, we'll take this out of the way. Now here, for the batter that we're gonna use, this is, like I said, it's completely from scratch. And this is yellow cornmeal. That's just all-purpose flour. And then we have salt, pepper, and I like to add cayenne. You don't have to add cayenne if you don't like. It really doesn't make it that hot, but I think it just adds a little bit more flavor. So here, your cornmeal, it's real simple. This is 2 parts cornmeal to 1 part flour. Doesn't get simpler than that, depending on how much fish you're gonna be cooking. Shrimp, this works very good for shrimp too. If you're gonna make a big batch, 4 cups of cornmeal, 2 cups of flour. It's just 2 to 1. Just very simple math. So just put that in a gallon bag. I like to I don't measure, teaspoon or tablespoon of this. I just eyeball it and say, that looks good. Same way with the salt. That's your pepper. Salt, a little bit more salt. Then cayenne. So now, this is your mixture that once the fish comes out of here, you're going to put it in this bag. I just seal the bag. Just roll it around just to where, and you can see through the bag, so you can see when the cornmeal and the flour are going to be completely mixed. And see, even then you can't even see the cayenne in there, or the pepper, but it's there. So right there, that's enough flour. Now what we're doing, this is a deep fryer, and I just use regular vegetable oil. Some people use peanut oil, canola oil. I just use regular vegetable oil. I'm not that picky. And right now it's at about 370. So that way you want it hot enough, because the last thing you want to do is put a piece in there and it just sinks to the bottom and doesn't even fizz, because then your fish or shrimp is going to be soggy. Because you want it to make sure it's hot enough. And then you just drop the fish in here. Probably just going to be able to do half on one. Maybe able to get the whole thing in there. No, we'll just do half. We'll do 2 batches. So there, it's just sitting in the bag. And again, you don't have to, well, you can seal it. But I never turn it over to the seal to where anything's going to fall out. You just shake it up again in the bag. You can have a big bowl too, and you can just do it by hand. It serves the same purpose, but this is easy because at the end you just throw this away and that's one less thing to clean. So I'm just checking the heat there. So now that's all rolled around, and when you look, you can't see any of the fish. You just can see the batter that's around it. And probably in a couple of minutes, we'll be dropping this in the oil. Okay, and before we put it in the oil, a tip that I forgot to tell you is if you open it up, just lick your finger a little bit, tap it, and taste the batter. If you can't taste the salt, you didn't put enough salt. So that's just a simple tip. This one, there's salt. It tastes just fine. So now here's the thing. We're gonna put it into this hot oil, which is at 360 degrees. But here's a mistake that some people make is they'll pull the rack completely out, and then they'll take all the fish or shrimp and they'll pile it in here, and then they drop it to where then you can hear it make the noise. But what happens when you do that is when you stack them up here, all of them together, they tend to stick together. And then when you drop it in there, they're like one big clump, and then when they break off, some of the batter goes off with some of the other fish. So I like to submerge the tray in the oil and then get the fish and just start dropping it in one at a time, and just kind of keep going in a circle so that they're not on top of each other. But as long as they're going in there individually, then they're not going to clump together, they're going to stick together, and you're going to have your nice individual pieces. So here we're almost through digging them out. Here and here. So that's everything from this first batch. And then what I do, this isn't a pressure cooker, but I always like to just put the lid back on just so that it contains some of the heat in there. And typically this takes about 6 or 8 minutes. And when you check it, kind of pick it up out of the oil, I like to wait until they're nice and golden brown. And then that's when I remove them from the pot. Or we're gonna go ahead and let that cook for a while I start the next batch. And then we'll get back once we check the fish in a little bit. 8 minutes, and as you can see, when we open this up and we pull it out, it's nice and golden brown. And so just set it here for a little bit. Set this down. Remember, that's extremely hot. Shake them up a little bit, and then I'm just going to dump them into this little casserole dish. What I do is I put a piece of paper towel on the bottom, just lay them all flat, and when we finish it, well, we're finished, but that's your fried fish with your homemade batter from scratch. And like, they sell a lot of different variations of different batter you can use, but they know me as El Cheapo. I like to do things from scratch and do it for very low cost, and this cost almost nothing to make. Now also, if you take, oh, and by the way, this is homemade tartar sauce that Stella makes. This is her own recipe, and this recipe, it calls for half a cup of mayo, half a cup of sour cream, and some dill relish. You can buy relish at the store, but this relish, it actually has on the container dill relish. Chop it up, put it in there, mix it up, add some juice from a small lemon wedge for a little bit of lemony tang to it, and then you add dill weed, the actual spice itself. Mix it all up, but the thing is, when you do that, it's going to be kind of watery. So you have to put a lid on it, put it in a refrigerator, and it has to sit there for at least 2 hours so it'll thicken up and it's good to go. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you very much for watching this video on how to deep fry fish. We're going to finish cooking the fish. We actually have some shrimp that we're going to throw in there too, and some french fries on the oven, on the stove. So hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Poke Villon, and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.